come on. Move it. You want? I like this seat. I like it better. Oh, this is nice.
What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and let's be honest, we all saw this one coming. Mike Tyson is now possibly facing felony charges as well as a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for beating the crap out of someone on an airplane. Yes, that is right. For those of you all who may not know, last night, well, I guess according to when you're watching this video, long story short, Mike Tyson beat the living shit out of some random dude on an airplane. And now he's going to be facing some type of repercussions now. There is conflicting stories out there about what happened. The guy who got his ass whooped was with a friend. They're both saying that the guy who got beat up was just trying to talk to Mike Tyson, asking him questions, and he was just really excited. And Mike Tyson responded by unleashing a flurry of punches. Mike Tyson's camp, however, claims that the guy was being belligerent. He was heavily intoxicated. And at one point, he even threw a water bottle at Mike Tyson. So we're not sure exactly what happened here. However, I'm leaning more towards the side of Mike Tyson. We did get to see a short clip of what looked like the dude is like standing up, saying all type of stuff behind Mike Tyson, but I couldn't make out if he was being rude or if he was just being an excited fan. Maybe an annoying, excited, drunk fan. However, he did wind up getting beat up. So let's just hop right into this. Legendary boxer Mike Tyson apparently was caught on video punching another passenger on a flight out of San Francisco Wednesday night. And according to one attorney, he could face felony battery charges over the incident. Video released on Thursday appeared to show Tyson punching a man seated a row behind him at a San Francisco International Airport. According to the report, the man continued to badger Tyson after he told him to chill. And listen, if Mike Tyson tells you to chill, not only do you chill the F out, you get the hell out of there. Think about it. You're sitting on an airplane. Maybe you accidentally bump the back of his seat. You think it's a normal guy. Turns out it's Mike Tyson. He turns around. Chill, man. The chill. Get the hell off that flight. I don't care if you're in the air, try to grab a parachute, jump off the airplane, because you're probably about to get your face caved in. Like this guy did. Although I think this guy got it kind of easy. I think that Mike Tyson kind of held his punches a little bit here, considering the fact that the guy didn't get knocked out and he's still alive. So yeah, if Mike Tyson tells you to chill, you chill. The San Francisco Police Department says that the two people believed to be involved were detained, and that one person was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. They added that the person being treated provided minimal details of the incident and refused to cooperate further with the police investigation. Now, that right there is a very important tidbit of information. So if this guy refused to cooperate with the police, then obviously I don't think he's pressing charges. However, that doesn't mean that the police won't bring charges themselves. That doesn't mean that the airport won't make sure that some charges are brought against Mike Tyson. But the fact that he wasn't cooperating with police, would that look good on his behalf if he does try to sue? Does this mean that he isn't trying to sue? I would think if he was trying to milk the situation for all it's worth, he would cooperate here to try to, go ahead and get the ball moving towards this multi-million dollar lawsuit. So I don't know. That's interesting. I think that's very telling, but we'll just have to wait and see in the days to come. Tyson's rep confirmed that the man not only was harassing the boxer, but also threw a water bottle at him before the incident. But according to Chicago-based attorney Andrew Stoltman, Tyson could still face serious consequences. Now, you don't just throw a water bottle at Mike Tyson unless you want to get punched in the face. So either this guy was extremely drunk or he was looking for an extremely big paycheck. Maybe both. Historically, trained fighters, mixed martial artists, are usually held by police and judges to a higher standard, in large part because it goes to intent. A trained fighter realizes they have the ability to inflict extensive damage, more so than a normal person. And a typical defense in these sorts of claims are self-defense, right? Tyson was defending himself from this gentleman. Well, when you're the former heavyweight boxing champion of the world, that defense is almost completely eviscerated. So basically what he's saying here is that judges and the law will hold these professional fighters to a higher standard than a normal person when it comes to these physical altercations. For one, like claiming self-defense isn't going to work out for you as well when you're the heavyweight boxing champion of the world and you are supposedly defending yourself from a small, frail man on an airplane. So, it just doesn't work out as well. Also, sometimes your hands are almost considered like lethal weapons. And these trained fighters, they can inflict a lot more damage than a normal human being. So they're held to a higher standard. And usually, I'm all about equality, holding everyone up to the same standard. But I get it in these situations because, it can be an extremely dangerous situation. And if you're someone who trains yourself to be an extremely dangerous person, you train yourself to be a weapon, then I think you should be held to a little bit of a higher standard because the type of damage you can do to people. And sometimes I think you just need to have a little bit of a longer fuse. But with that being said, I'm not saying that these fighters should just take any sort of abuse or whatever's thrown at them. But at the same time, I do understand holding them to a higher standard. Stoltman explained that unless the man did or said something egregious to provoke the attack, Tyson is facing an uphill climb, and there are likely going to be felony battery charges filed against him. Now, I don't like this statement right here because the lawyer says that unless the man did or said something, I do not believe that words should equate to violence. I think we need to move past this in society where violence is an appropriate response to words. What someone says some mean things, it doesn't put you at threat. It doesn't put you in harm's way. And it seems like we're moving towards this place in society where, this person said a no-no word. This person called me this. This person calls me that. That's a good excuse for killing someone, hurting someone. And I don't think that's the case, but we're moving towards that place in society. And we just talked about this with the Will Smith situation, where a lot of people feel like, because Chris Rock told a joke, it's okay for Will Smith to hit him. And no, I don't think it's okay. You have to learn how to take words. You have to. And someone like Mike Tyson, who's literally taken punches from some of the best boxers the world has ever seen, he should be able to take some words. With that being said, I'm not against Mike Tyson in this situation by any stretch of the means. However, like I said, I don't condone in violence over words, and I don't think that even if someone says something egregious, that it means that you should be able to do whatever you want to them and get away with it. However, I know this is the real world and people get their ass whooped over saying the wrong thing all the time. I've gotten in fights over things that I didn't like when someone said something I didn't like when I was younger. I understand. But, I'm older now, and I think everyone, especially someone Mike Tyson's age, should move past that part of life. You have to grow as a person. But because this incident took place on a plane, Tyson potentially could be prohibited from flying. So they're talking about putting Mike Tyson on the no-fly list. Oh, Tyson, what are you getting yourself into? You're too old for this. You are having your redemption arc. He seems so peaceful lately, but at the same time, you could tell that the beast within him has been unleashed lately because he came back to boxing. Where it happened is really important for a couple of reasons. First off, it's clear that San Francisco still has jurisdiction over him. But Tyson could also be banned or prohibited from flying as well because the FAA is cracking down heavily on unruly passengers. And Mike Tyson beating the shit out of someone on an airplane is just about as unruly as it gets. It's about as unruly as it can get. Yes, it is. If I was on an airplane and a fight broke out, that's one thing. If I'm on an airplane and Mike Tyson's on the airplane and he starts beating people up, that's a whole different story. Stoltman, the lawyer here, says that if no criminal charges are filed, that he will be shocked. And if the man who was assaulted at this time did not file a civil lawsuit, that he would also be shocked. And you also have to remember that we're still waiting to hear from other people that were on this plane as well. What are their stories? Because Mike Tyson and this guy, they weren't on a plane alone. There were other people there, the flight attendants. People had to pull Mike Tyson off of the guy. So we haven't heard from anyone else on that plane yet. I'm interested in finding out if there's any other video angles of this as well, because I would like to know more about the story. Now, naturally, I know what people are going to say here. I know what a lot of people are going to say here. How could I be against Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, but I'm not against Mike Tyson punching this guy? Well, it all has to do with the time and the setting, for one. When you're at the Oscars, you know that people roast people at the Oscars. People tell jokes at the Oscars, especially if you're sitting on the front row. So someone cracking a harmless joke at the Oscars, I don't think that's okay for you to slap someone over that. However, if you're in public, minding your own business on an airplane, and someone is verbally harassing you, and you turn around and sock the guy in the neck, then, like I said, I don't think words should equal violence, but at the same time, I'm not going to feel bad for you if something happens to you. I made it clear in my coverage of the Will Smith situation, if Will Smith was out eating dinner with his wife, and some person just came up and was started making fun of his wife's head and her hair, and he got up and hit the guy, I wouldn't have an issue with that. That's kind of like this situation. Mike Tyson was on an airplane, and allegedly some dude was harassing him, and he turned around and whipped his ass. But, like I said, I don't think that words should equal violence, and I would like to know the full story here. Because if this guy was just a big fan of Mike Tyson, he was just really excited, wanting to talk to Mike Tyson about his greatest moments and his fights and his, he was just a guy who was super excited to see Mike Tyson, and he was being annoying, and Mike Tyson whooped his ass because of that, then I would not support that. In fact, I would look at Mike Tyson differently because of that. However, if, like Mike Tyson's camp says, this guy was verbally just badgering Mike Tyson and throwing water bottles at him and everything, and Mike Tyson turned around and gave him the old 1-2 punch, then I don't feel bad for him. And I really have nothing against Mike Tyson in that situation. I don't want Mike Tyson to go to jail. I don't want him to be involved in this big, crazy lawsuit over this. None of that. But I would have to have more context here. But we don't have more context. All we know is what we're told. And from what we're told, I'm not mad at Mike Tyson in this situation. Although, like I said, I don't condone in the violence. But these things happen. You do have to watch what you say to people on the streets. On the streets. If you're a comedian and you're telling jokes on stage, I think you should be safe. But I want to know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you on the next video.